Hey Jems, welcome back to my channel. It's Jade here. It's Monday again, so that means it's time for some medical school motivation. If you're new to my channel, I'm doing a series, Medical School Motivation Mondays, in order to detail the application process from the personal statement to the interview season. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to click that bell so that you'll be notified anytime I post a video and you won't miss any of this pertinent information. Let's get into the video. Before we get into the video, two things. One, if you don't know when your professors are going to get back to you with your letters of recommendation right now, email them all and find out. I told all of the people who wrote me letters of recommendation that I wanted it a month in advance. So if I were to submit my application, say May 31st, I told them that I needed it by January 30th, right? They don't know when you need it, okay? But tell them an earlier date than you actually need it so that you know that you have it. And two, if you have not ordered your transcripts, order them now. Even if you still have to finish out this semester, go ahead and order them, because your school isn't going to send them until your transcripts are updated, and it will stop your application from being processed. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. For number 3 here, if you haven't looked at your personal statement since last year and you're about to start the application or you're mid-application, just stop what you're doing right now and take a look at your personal statement, because I had already prepared a personal statement and I thought, oh yeah, I'm good. Never looked at it until I wanted to submit, and I was like, no, I can't submit this. Like, who is this person who wrote this? It's not me. So you change. If you're the exact same person that you were last year, 21, 22 years old, like, I don't know about you, dog. Like, you should have grown. You should have more experiences, more things that have melded you into the human being that you are. But that's my personal opinion. Don't take no offense. If you wrote your personal statement last year and you can look at it right now and read through and it sounds just like you and you're fine with it, good for you. You're ahead of the game, okay? Submit your application. My advice to you though is to go ahead and get those transcripts, make sure that you're on your people about your letters of recommendation, and also look over that personal statement, because it's going to take you the longest to perfect. For the most part, the rest of the application you can kind of do just in one sitting, other than the little mini essays. But for the most part of the rest of your life that they want to know about from the day you were born till now, you can do that. You can just gruel through and put in all that data. But personal statement, it's personal. It needs to be. So it takes a while, you know? So yeah, now that we have that out of the way, here's my tips for nailing your personal statement. So my first tip is to use the personal statement to stand out. The rest of your application is just numbers and looking good on paper. So your personal statement needs to define you as a person, in a sense, set you apart from other people, as well as bring you to life, honestly, because before the personal statement, again, you're just statistics. So in order to stand out, I would encourage you, if your background, your upbringing, your pertinent life story in itself says that by all accounts, you shouldn't have gotten as far in life as you have, that you've jumped over more hurdles than most people can count, then tell your story. That's compelling. The reader is gonna vibe with it. Tell your story. So in other words, if you have an underdog story, tell it. But if you don't, which a lot of people feel they don't, I suppose, then you can write about significant experiences that have led you to pursue medicine. And again, I say for a third time, significant. Not, I've always wanted to be a doctor since I was 3 years old. Unless you have an amazing spin on that cliche, don't use it. You can also talk about advocacy and things that you would like to change yourself in the healthcare field. So my second tip is to answer the question, why you? You need to sell yourself, okay? Because these people are basically shopping for a car. They're at the Mercedes-Benz lot, okay? And there's however many C classes, E classes, S classes, okay? And each one is the same. The only difference is maybe the exterior color, maybe one of the features, maybe they got that cream interior with the black on the outside like you really want, okay? But that's the only thing setting it apart from everything else. Every single car on this lot has an engine, has a transmission, I'm not a mechanic, okay? But you get the picture. Like, everything else about you and your application is cookie cutter. Everyone else has it, right? So sell yourself like that car that sells itself on its lot with its pertinent features, okay? So what can you do for the school? Not just what can the school do for you. They hear that. I mean, they don't hear it all day, but they know the service that they provide. They get, my school at least was like 4,000 applications for 100 students to get in. So they know why you should invest in them, but you need to let them know why they should invest in you. So again, let them know what you can do for them, what you can do for that school, what you can do for the future of medicine. If you're like, whoa, that's a lot, that's like a grand scheme. On a smaller scale, you really just need to show them you're committed, you're reliable, and that you understand and respect the rigor of the education of the career path that you've chosen. They want to know that you're a stable investment and that you're gonna make it through these 4 years, because otherwise they could have chosen someone else who would make it through those 4 years. So tip number 3, and I'm sure you've heard it before, show not tell. So don't just list random characteristics about yourself and then move on to like your hobbies or something of the sort. If you're gonna list characteristics in a thesis style format, then you need to go into each of those characteristics and provide an example of how you, for instance, if you say I'm honest, well, then you need to tell me about that time you were walking down the street and you found a wallet with $1 million in it. You turned it in to the police office. That shows you're an honest individual. So don't just list off characteristics and expect them to take it at face value. Go ahead and back up those statements. Give examples of a time where maybe you discovered that unique characteristic about yourself, or any time that you exampled that characteristic in your life. Okay, so my final tip is not to shy away from your weaknesses, because they're listed in your application anyway. But where they're listed in your application, there's no space underneath to say, hey, here's why my MCAT was low, here's why my GPA was low, here's what I was struggling with at the time, here's why there's this huge gap in my work experience or my academic experience. So if you have space, take that time to provide an adequate explanation. Now, what you don't want to do is come off as making excuses. So make sure you take responsibility, then provide the actions that you took to grow from that situation. So in other words, put a positive spin on the negatives. All right, Jems, that's all I have today. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments below, or you can hit me up on my Instagram. I have made a highlight specifically for Medical School Motivation Mondays. One caveat, it is exam season, so your girl will get back to you as soon as is reasonable for my study schedule. Don't forget to tune in next Monday while I'll be going through the TMD-SAS application, like my own personal one, and comparing it to the AMCAS application. Hope that gave you a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of motivation. See you guys next time.